Today we're going to review Mulan, which was recently released on September 4th on Disney Plus Premier Access.
Hey guys, it's KJ,
John,
and Winnie from Disney Mom Life. Welcome back to our channel. If you like today's video, please
give it a thumbs up,
hit that subscribe button,
ding the notification bell,
and leave us a comment. And with that, John, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to review Mulan, which was recently released on September 4th on Disney Plus Premier Access for $30.
So you're probably wondering, should you rent this movie for $30? And you also may be wondering, it has a PG-13 rating. Should I let my kids see this? John and I are going to do a deeper dive and let you know our thoughts.
Alright, so let's start with the big elephant in the room, the big Dumbo in the room, and that is the $30 price tag. Obviously, we've all grown accustomed to Disney Plus having titles up there for just our monthly subscription, but this Premier Access is something new. People are probably wrestling with the idea of spending $30 to watch something that in 3 months, because December 4th, it will be available on Disney Plus with just your normal subscription. But if you want to watch it between now and then, it will cost $30. Now, you will own the movie, so you can rewatch it as many times as you want. And I guess how I would decide on this would be, or how we decided on this, we planned to see Mulan in the movies, and we planned to see it the opening weekend because we were excited for it and we wanted to see it. So if KJ and I saw it ourselves in the theater, it would have run us probably pretty close to the $30 price target just for the tickets. Then when you add concessions, you're above that $30 price. Now, there is an experience to going to the movies that I actually love, so I did miss that. I would be willing to pay a premium to see movies in the theater. But if you're a family of 3, 4, 5, it's still $30. And if you're a family of 4, you would probably spend around $70 for an afternoon at the movies. This is significantly cheaper than that, and you can do it from the comfort of your own living room. But if you're one of those people who wasn't going to run out and go see the movie the first weekend or the second weekend it was out, I would say what's waiting another 3 months to have it as part of your Disney Plus subscription. But if it's something you've been waiting for, the movie did live up to the expectations we had for it, and I have no regrets. We have no regrets, I think, on spending $30 to watch it.
So without giving any spoilers, why don't we talk a little bit about what the movie was about?
It stayed pretty true to its cartoon classic.
There were other characters that were not in the movie, like Mushu and Cricket, but there was a character named Cricket, and I think that that was supposed to be sort of like an Easter egg or a play on the cartoon version of Mulan. I did like that Mulan changed it up a little bit, but didn't veer too far from the original storyline.
Right.
So for that, I'd say, like,
the two biggest missing ingredients from the cartoon would be, 1, it is not a musical, and 2, there's not really any sort of love interest story going on in the live action. There is kind of touches and sprinkles of it perhaps, but there's nothing as overt as there is in the cartoon.
I actually would disagree. I thought that there was a love story, if you will. I think in the cartoon the love story isn't an overt love story, and I thought that in the live action it pretty much mirrored.
Up to that?
Yeah, maybe I was looking for it more because I like that kind of stuff, but...
And the one thing I'll say, even the original Mulan is not driven by the love story like some of the Disney princess movies are. But the live action, it's a very small piece of what the movie is.
It's there, I promise.
So the idea of Mulan and the story, there is so many possibilities with a subject matter like that. You have a young woman who is trying to rise up against an oppressed society and allow her to kind of serve a role that is traditionally a men's role. And there's some great storytelling that can come out of those types of stories. And it's delicate. Disney is dealing with, 1, a PG-13 rating, and they don't necessarily want to push the limits of what PG-13 can be. And they're also dealing with a runtime of, it's basically an hour and 45 minutes if you eliminate the credits at the end. So a movie, if you really want to draw out those storylines and develop the characters the way they really should be developed and actually emotionally connect with them, that movie probably needs to be like 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes. When you're cutting off 40 minutes because you want to make it manageable for a 6 and 7-year-old or a 10-year-old, there's a lot that is left on the cutting room floor as far as character development. And that's where I thought the movie could have shined greater, is that outside of Mulan, I don't know if we really got to know a lot of the characters in the movie. There wasn't a lot there about the villain and what his motives were. There wasn't a lot there about the Emperor other than we knew he was the Emperor. And we didn't really know anything about Mulan's sister or her mother. It was really a story about Mulan, her relationship with her father, and her infantry compatriots.
If you are familiar with the cartoon or just the story of Mulan, then I don't think it's as difficult to follow. John is really big on character development. It's not just with Mulan. That is always something John and I talk about after we've seen a movie. John's big on character development. So I do agree that there could have been more character development, but for the sake of time and trying to keep the movie at an appropriate PG-13, as well as trying to keep it under 2 hours, I see why Disney did that. I don't think it took too much away from the story, but I agree that it could have been better if there was more character development.
I would have liked to have seen that explored from even Mulan's early years, where she is growing up and what is driving her, what is inside her that makes her want to be a soldier in what is basically a man's environment and world. We don't really get to those points to see why she is the way she is and what sets her apart from the other women in her community.
I will say I do think that there was some information about that. Again, John was really critical of character development. They do talk about something called Chi that's in the very beginning of the movie, so not giving anything away, but Mulan's Chi. And that is sort of the source of her power, if you will, and she has to suppress it as a woman. Again, this is in the very beginning of the movie, so not trying to give anything away here, but that is sort of the driving force. I thought, again, John is all about that character development, but for me, I felt like you did get an understanding of why she is the way she is. Could they have gone deeper? Of course, but I felt like I understood why she was the way she was, at least at surface level.
And that's an element of the movie that also was interesting. They decided to make Mulan's drive be something that was almost like magical and spiritual, supernatural, that's a better word for it, something supernatural, almost like to compare it to like Star Wars and the Force.
Yes.
She had something inside her that did not and does not exist in the other humans that inhabit her world. I don't know how I felt about that she was something that was, not that she was something that was not of this world, but like that she wasn't just an ordinary woman. I don't know, that also was different. I'm fine with it, but I wasn't expecting it, I'll say that.
I mean, in the cartoon they had Mushu, so there were supernatural things in the original.
Well, yeah,
too.
and cartoons can be, I'm a little more forgiving of the things that,
I like sci-fi and magic and all those sorts of things. As far as it being rated PG-13, please note this is completely up to you. As parents, if you have children under the age of 13, if you want to watch the movie first, please do so and then make a decision for yourselves on whether or not you think that it's appropriate for your children. It is a personal decision.
Yeah, and I think good comps for the PG-13 rating are movies like the Star Wars saga, maybe even Pirates of the Caribbean. The only reason I think it has the PG-13 rating is the war-themed violence. And there are no signs of blood. There are really no signs of death other than when someone's getting hit with an arrow or a sword that they're likely dead. But there's nothing graphic on your actual screen.
Right.
But I think because of those war themes, you're going to get a PG-13 rating. It has none of the language that like a Marvel movie would have, and that's not to say that Marvel movies have bad language, but Marvel movies you'll get your junior high school type language, and we all know what that kind of is. Mulan has none of that. It has no adult themes, if you will, outside of the war themes, which are also shot in a way where it's not cartoonish, but it definitely has maybe like a Matrix type feel to it.
Yes.
Where things aren't much like her powers are supernatural. It seems like the war and things going around it also has like a out of this world type feel.
Like some of the characters can run up walls, like not with wires. I mean, when they're filming it's with wires, but they can run up the walls and things like that. And they also I think they sort of like slow-mo things like the Matrix when Mulan's doing some fancy footwork, or when some of the other characters are doing something like that. So it does have a Matrix kind of feel to it in how it is visually. But
I think it may have been intentional to maybe tone down the violent nature of war. Because when it's shot that way, it kind of seems more video game-ish than real life kind of war. But by no means is this a PG-13 rating like you would see in like the Batman Christian Bale like Dark Knight series, or something you would see in like the Jurassic World movies. This is not like a hard pushing the boundaries of PG-13.
Right.
This is a very much, if you watch it, you would probably question yourself, was that PG or PG-13? It very much felt like a PG movie with some war elements. And as far as the fighting scenes, very similar to that. And Star Wars, well, Star Wars probably even pushes, because you see things in Star Wars like, you know, limbs and things like that. So in the early, it's probably more closely comparable to the earlier Star Wars films, which actually were PG, where you have laser blasts and lightsaber fights, and you know people are quote unquote dying, but it's not really so obvious on screen.
So to wrap up here, first question, do we think it's worth the $30? For big Disney fans like us, for people who love the movies, especially John. John is a huge moviegoer.
If you plan to see it opening weekend, I would say that you definitely should spend the $30 and see it on Premier Access.
I would absolutely say it is worth the $30. It was basically like a date night in for us. John cooked us a nice dinner, and we put the baby to bed, and we watched our movie, and it really felt like a nice date night in. Or if you have children that are old enough to watch the movie, it could be a nice family night in. If you guys like this video,
give it a thumbs up.
Hit the subscribe button.
Ding that notification bell.
And leave us a comment. Let us know in the comments down below. Do you plan to rent Mulan? Did you rent Mulan? If you did, what did you think? If you are not planning to, how come you're not planning to? Let us know in the comments below. And with that, we'll see you guys real soon. Bye.
See you at the movie theater once they open.
Down and film this for you. Yes, and Winnie.